A single pot of steaming mussels and a cone of golden fries is the heartbeat of Belgian culture. This isn't just a meal, it is a national identity served on a plate, a marriage of the North Sea's bounty and the humble potato that has defined Belgian dining for nearly 2 centuries. To understand why this specific pairing became the country's culinary signature, you have to look at the geography of the land itself. Belgium's coastline along the North Sea is relatively short, but its relationship with the water is profound. For generations, the nutrient-rich, cold waters of the Scheldt River estuary and the North Sea have provided the perfect cradle for the blue mussel, or Mytilus edulis. These mollusks thrive in the tidal currents, developing a sweet, briny flavor that is distinctively clean. Historically, mussels were the food of the working class, an abundant, accessible protein source that could be harvested with little more than a boat and a rake. But why the fries? The potato arrived in the Low Countries in the late 16th century, but it wasn't until the 19th century that the practice of frying them became a widespread art form. In the winter months, when the rivers froze and fishing became impossible, the coastal communities turned to their stored potatoes. By the time the mussel season hit its peak, the 2 ingredients were already staples in every household pantry. The marriage of the 2 was inevitable, born from the necessity of local markets and the simple, rustic elegance of combining a soft, savory shellfish with a crunchy, salty starch. The craft behind the dish is what elevates it from a snack to a masterpiece. A true Belgian mussel pot, or Moules-Frites, is a study in restraint. It begins with a base of butter and shallots, sweated until translucent, followed by a splash of dry white wine and a handful of fresh parsley. The mussels are added, the lid is clamped down, and they are steamed for just a few minutes. The goal is to let the mussels release their own liquor, creating a broth that is essentially a concentrated essence of the sea. Then, there are the frites. If you ask a Belgian, they will tell you that a fry is not just a potato cut into a stick. It is a technical process. Authentic Belgian fries are double fried. The first fry, at a lower temperature, cooks the interior of the potato until it is soft and creamy, like a baked potato. After a brief rest, the fries are plunged into a second, much hotter oil bath. This is the secret to the signature crunch, a golden, blistered exterior that holds up perfectly when dipped into the mussel broth. There is a rhythm to the season as well. In Belgium, there is a long-standing rule of thumb: mussels are best eaten during the months that contain the letter R. This spans from September through April. During these colder months, the mussels are plump and at their peak of quality. It's a seasonal ritual that dictates the social calendar of the country, with restaurants across Brussels and Bruges filling up as the first autumn chill sets in. When you sit down to eat, the etiquette is part of the experience. You don't use a fork for every bite. Instead, you take an empty mussel shell, use it like a pair of tongs to pluck the next mussel from its shell, and then dip your fries directly into the broth. It's a tactile, communal way of eating that forces you to slow down. You are engaging with the food, the salt, the steam, and the crunch. This dish represents the Belgian philosophy of life: take the best of what your environment provides, treat it with respect, and don't overcomplicate the process. Whether you are in a high-end bistro in the heart of the city or a small shack by the docks, the quality remains consistent because the method is sacred. It is a reminder that the most iconic dishes in the world aren't usually the ones with the most ingredients, but the ones with the most history. As you finish the last of the fries, soaking up the final drops of wine and butter from the bottom of the pot, you realize that you haven't just eaten a meal. You've participated in a tradition that has survived wars, industrial shifts, and the changing tides of global cuisine.